In this video, I'm gonna walk you through the most useful GlobalProtect settings and how they impact your VPN users. I'll show you exactly what remote users experience after these settings are adjusted. If we haven't met before, my name is Ricardo, and in this video, we're gonna be focusing on the settings found in the GlobalProtect Portal's configuration, specifically within the App tab of the agent. Let's go! So in this video, we're going to be talking about GlobalProtect Portal, more specifically on the app options that the portal gives us. So if you go to Network, Portals, and then I enter on the portal that I have configured, and click on Agent. I'm going to choose this off. And here under App, you can see all these options that we have. There are a lot of options. We're not going to be covering all the options that we have, otherwise this video will be taking 15 hours maybe. But I'm going to choose that I would say the most important ones, or the ones that I usually use with my clients. So the first one would be the connect method. This part here is going to be a little bit more theoretical. The rest, or some of the options here, I'm going to show you actually what the remote user sees. It's going to be something more practical. I think it makes the video a little bit more interesting, and also the understanding is for sure a little bit easier. This pull-down menu shows 4 options, but 2 of them has this always on in the end. This always on means that GlobalProtect connects itself without the user intervention, without the user manually having to click anywhere. The differences between these two is that the pre-logon, that this connection happens right after the computer has just booted up or started up, even before the user logs on. So you have a Windows computer, let's say. You start the computer, and as soon as the operational system is there, GlobalProtect tries to connect to the portal or to the gateway, even without the user doing anything. The user logon, the connection is also automatic, but in this case, GlobalProtect waits until the user logs on to establish this connection to the corporate network. This third one is the on-demand, is the one that you would expect. GlobalProtect just waits for you to click on connect and to click on disconnect, if it's allowed, for you to connect to the network. Not so special. And the last one, pre-logon then on-demand, it's an hybrid connection between this one and this one, I would say. So it happens like this. You start your computer, so it happens the pre-logon, GlobalProtect connects to your corporate network. And then when you log on to your Windows, GlobalProtect disconnects its connection and waits for you to say, okay, I want to use GlobalProtect for my connection, or no, I want to work today without the VPN connection. You can ask yourself, why does it connect before if it gives you the option later on, and why is it disconnect? The idea is that when you're in this logon phase, that you're connected to your corporate network, and then you can actually authenticate yourself against your Active Directory, for example. But in this phase, you're connected to your network. After that, you can even configure, there's one of the options here, that you can configure how long the pre-logon phase waits until it disconnects itself. But the main idea from this phase is that you are able to log on with an IP address from your network actually connected to your network. Okay? Regarding this pre-logon, I made a video about it. I'm going to leave the link in the description, and you can take a look if you want to implement some the pre-logon connect method. Okay? The next one that I want to show you is this one, allow user to disconnect GlobalProtect app in always on mode. So you have here 5 options. And this one here, I'm going to show you in practice what it looks like. Let's start with the allow. I'm going to commit this configuration, and then I'm going to simulate a remote user connecting to our firewall. So now I'm going to simulate a remote connection to my firewall. And if I try to connect from my GlobalProtect, you see that it's connected. And if I come here, I have the option to disconnect my connection. And I'm going to click on disconnect. And there you go, I'm disconnected. So now we're going to set this option to disallow. This means that I'm not going to be allowing the user to disconnect from the GlobalProtect connection. Okay, so now I'm connected to the firewall with the option to disallow. And as you can see here, I don't see the disconnect option. If I open here my services and I look for pen GPS, where is it? Pen GPS, and I click on restart, you're gonna see here that my GlobalProtect is gonna restart. There it is. Gonna try connecting again. Connected. And as you can see, I don't have the option to disconnect. Of course, if I'm local administrator, I can still stop this service, the pen GPS. But if I'm not an administrator, I won't be able to disconnect my GlobalProtect. Let's go now try the third option, allow with comment. Now here, since I don't have the option to disconnect and connect again, I'm gonna restart the pen GPS. The GlobalProtect app is gonna download the new profile from the portal and should be able to allow me to disconnect again, but with a comment. Let's go, disconnect. There you go. Tell us why you need to disconnect from GlobalProtect. Slow internet. Disconnect. If you're interested in a cheat sheet from the CLI commands from the Palo Alto or a VPN connection sheet, head to netsums.com/resources to get yours for free. And now if you go back to the file, now I came to monitor, GlobalProtect, and I can see here my client being disconnected, my logout. And here, if you configure your column, let's do like this. Let me show you. You can see here, if you move the mouse on top of the menu, you can see this little arrow pointing down. And if you click on the arrow, columns, and you can choose which columns get shown and which columns don't get shown. This column here, what is it? Description, brings a lot of information from the connections, but it's not a standard column. It usually doesn't get shown. You have to come here and select this column. I would really recommend, because it has a lot of useful information, including the comment that the user enters when he disconnects. But even if you don't use this allow with comment, there's still a lot of information here. Some of them that I just learned not so long ago is the name, for example, the name of the agent, the portal agent. So he has a config name. So if you have only one, let me go back to network, portal. If you only have one agent configuration or just two, it's not a big problem. But sometimes I have for a client that we have many. The maximum you can have here is 64. And we have maybe 20, 25. And each category or each agent has a different user or user group here on this side. User or user group. So sometimes I want to see, okay, was there a match? Where did this client match in which agent configuration? And without this column, I didn't get this information, but now with this description column, we can see here success configuration, which in this case here is the portal configuration. And here's the gateway configuration. What's the name of the agent? This one is the GW_agent. This is an agent configured in my gateway. And on my portal, I have the configuration called agent configuration called auth. Okay, just a parenthesis in the middle of our explanation. But here is the description that the user enters. Show internet. Okay, let's go back now to the portal. Agent, auth, app. The next one is going to be allow with passcode. And you can see here on the right side, disconnect GlobalProtect app. There's a passcode. Just gonna enter passcode netsums. Okay. I'm gonna press OK, and let's go to our client. So now I'm connected to the gateway. I just connected again. So I have downloaded already the new profile, and I'm gonna click on disconnect, and he says enter the passcode to disconnect. I'm just gonna enter something random, disconnect, enter the correct password to disconnect. So now I'm gonna enter the correct one, netsums, disconnect. So now I'm disconnected. Now back to the file. There's one thing I forgot to mention. Let's go back now to the allow with comment, which is actually a cool thing. If I select here allow with comment, and then in the next field, I enter something like slow internet, comma, lazy to work today, comma, other. And then I just commit this configuration. And let's take a look now what it means for the remote clients. Now let's connect again and try to disconnect. Now if we disconnect, look what we see. We see all the options that we entered, plus one more other reason. This other here is actually redundant. We didn't need to enter this one. And if we choose other reason, you can say something, wanna go to the beach. Wanna go to the beach. Or you can choose any of the ones above that has been sent from the configuration. Okay, click on disconnect, and if you go back to the file, under monitor, comment, wanna go to the beach. Here's agent message. You can also filter agent message, stage equals agent message. I just clicked on this name and it made a filter here on top in case you didn't know. Now you click on apply filter and you can see here all the comments that have been entered. Okay, now let's go to the last option. And for that, we need to go to agent. Before we configure the last option, which is allowed with ticket, we need to enter an agent user override key. I just enter ABCD, and we go to auth, app, and here we're gonna choose allow with ticket, and then we're gonna commit this configuration. Okay, now at my client, if I come here and connect again, and if I come here and try to disconnect, I get a request number. The whole idea of this disconnect with ticket is that you get a request number, and you call your hotline and you pass this request number, and the hotline gives you back a ticket number. And then you can select still the reason to disconnect, and then you can click on disconnect. So I'm gonna copy this request number. I'm gonna simulate that I'm passing this request number through the phone to somebody, and somebody on my help desk has access to the file, and he comes here and clicks on generate ticket, and I'm just gonna paste the request number that I copied. Okay, this one has to be here. And my hotline can configure how long is this ticket valid. I'm gonna just enter 10 minutes and I click on OK. And then I get a ticket number. Just gonna copy this, and the remote user is gonna enter this information here in the ticket number field. And then I'm gonna click on this. No, I'm gonna do something else first. Instead of 82, I'm gonna enter 28. Click on disconnect, enter correct ticket number. So instead of 28, I'm gonna put 82. That's the correct one. Click on disconnect, and now I'm disconnected. If you go back to the file, you can see here, message agent disable, comment method with ticket. Okay. Now if you go back to the portal, agent. So the next option would be allow user to uninstall GlobalProtect app. The allow is the normal one that they allow to uninstall. The disallow won't let them uninstall, and I'm gonna show you what message the Windows users get. So now if I come here to GlobalProtect and I click on uninstall, the uninstall or change a program opens, and I have here the GlobalProtect. And if I click on uninstall, are you sure you want to uninstall GlobalProtect? I'm gonna click on yes. And he says uninstallation is not allowed. Please contact your IT administrator. Back to the file now. We're gonna try now the third option. Is gonna be with allow with password. And here on the right side, we need to enter a password, netsums. Sorry, I didn't show you. In this field here, uninstall GlobalProtect app, you can enter the password that's gonna be used if you choose this option here, allow with password, which is the one that we want. So I enter netsums, and we're gonna commit this configuration and take a look at the remote client again. So at the remote client, I'm going to disconnect or click on refresh connection, so that I download the newest portal configuration. Connected. And if I go now here to GlobalProtect and click on uninstall, are you sure you want to uninstall? Yes. Now it's asking me to enter the uninstallation password. The next option would be allow user to upgrade GlobalProtect app. You have also several options, whereas the second one, disallow, is the only one that is not going to be offering the user to upgrade, or sometimes it doesn't offer, it does it on the background, but this one won't allow. How does the file do that? The file has an installed version of the GlobalProtect client and the remote user also. So whenever the remote user connects to the file compares these two versions, the one that the file has and which one the user has. If the file has a newer one, so it goes through this process. Should I allow? Should I do it automatically? We're going to go through each one of these ones here. But first I want to show you where the GlobalProtect client gets installed in the file, okay? So I'm just going to go to cancel. And here if you go to device, scroll all the way down, here you have a menu called GlobalProtect client. I make it a little bit bigger. I like this is better. And the newest one, let me see if there's a new one now. I have 630 using on my, currently I have already the newest one on my remote client, but I'm gonna install maybe the 621 on my client now, remote client, and the 630, I'm gonna click to download. This is the one that I'm gonna install on my firewall now. And after it gets downloaded, you have the option here to come and click on activate. This will activate a new version of GlobalProtect client that will be downloaded on GlobalProtect user's computer when they connect next time. Do you want to continue? Yes. I'm going to leave it activating on the background. And let's go back to network, portal. And here we are going to configure the option. Not this one. This one. Allow with prompt. I'm going to leave the first one. And let's go to the remote PC now. On my remote client, I installed now the version 6.2.1. Get started. I want to show you settings. About 6.2.1.132. Okay. Now I'm going to connect. So whenever I connect, now there is this window showing that there's an update available. It means that the file has the version 6.3.0 and I have here installed the 6.2.1. Now I can choose not now. I'm going to choose to download so you can see. So update in progress. Please do not turn off the computer. Prepare for download. Download successfully. You want to install the new version? Yes, I want to install. If I go to the app, you can see here it says installing. There you go. Now the app is there. Let's take a look. I cannot take a look. I need to connect. Okay, I'm going to connect. I'm connected. If I go to settings, about, now you can see that I have the newest one. The installation does take a while. It took about maybe 3 minutes to download and install. So you have to be a little bit patient. So let's go back to the portal. And now we're going to select the option, not this one, the upgrade, this one. This one now that we had was allow with prompt. And if I choose the disallow, just doesn't show anything. If I choose so if you don't want the users to update, you just leave it disallow. If you go to allow manually, it means that it won't ask you to download just as the disallow, but it gives you the option. Let's go back to the client. At least gives you the option here under settings to check for updates and for you to download. And they allow transparently. It's very similar to the internal one. Allow transparently just installs the new version in the background. We can take a look at this one. And then the internal we don't need to do. The internal is just like the allow transparently, but it waits for you to connect to an internal gateway. So if you have an internal gateway, like for example, whenever the users are in the corporate network, only there it makes the installation transparently. I mean, it's also transparently, the user doesn't have to do anything, doesn't have to accept anything, but this transparently is independently where you are. So now again, I have an older version. So now I'm connected. With the 623. GlobalProtect agent upgrade is in progress. Please wait, application will restart once the upgrade is complete. As you can see here, there was no question if the GlobalProtect could be updated or not. It was just pushed to the client, let's say like this, without even the client being able to say yes or no. So now the new app seems to be installed. It's connected. Now let's go to settings, about, and now you can see the 630, the version that's installed on the firewall. The next one will be to allow user to extend GlobalProtect user session. The default option is no, and you have the option to enter no or yes. This user session is actually configured under the gateway. So I'm going to go to the gateway, go to cancel, cancel, and if you go to the gateway, under agent, in the connection settings, you have the option login lifetime. In my case, or the default is 30 days. And you have the option here to change, maybe to, I don't know, if you want to set to 60 minutes or 1 hour, you can. And this is the message, login lifetime expiration message. You can also change this message if you want. And the option that we're seeing here under the portal is exactly the option to allow the user to prolong this, in my case, 1 hour, if I configure, or not. If you leave as default, the user will not be able to prolong the session. If you change to yes, he's going to be able to say, okay, I'm still working, I want to prolong my session. Okay, I'll leave to default. He'll also leave to the default value. The next one, if you use SAML, if you use the authentication using Microsoft Azure or some other identity provider, maybe this option would be interesting for you. Use default browser for SAML authentication. What it means here by default browser is the browser that your operational system has configured. For example, Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge. GlobalProtect brings also an internal browser, let's say like this. And this option set to no means that you're going to be using the internal browser to log yourself in. If you set to yes, you're going to be using the browser from your system. But as I said, this is only relevant if you use SAML. One advantage of using the browser that GlobalProtect brings with it, like the embedded browser, is that the browser closes the window by itself. After you log yourself in, the window which is open with the browser gets closed by itself. GlobalProtect manages to close it. Whereas if you're using the default browser, it means yes, like Google Chrome, the users have to close the browser windows by themselves. So after they log in, there is a browser window that's open in the background. Another one would be related to certificate. Client certificate store lookup. If you're using certificate to authenticate the users, you can specify if these certificates are supposed to be searched in the user store, in the machine store, or both of them. The default is to search in the user and the machine store of the client. Next relevant option is to allow user to change portal address. So it means that the user is going to be able to change the portal address manually. If you set to no, the user will not be able to change the address. In my case, is vpn.netsums.com. You can see that I was able to enter the address of the portal manually. If you set to no, the user will not be able to do it. So the next one is pre-logon tunnel rename timeout in seconds. In the default configuration, the pre-logon tunnel doesn't time out. This is this -1. Usually you would like to set this to 0. It means that if you're using pre-logon, and you log into Windows, you have to be using Windows for this option to be relevant. So you log yourself into Windows, and the pre-logon gets disconnected, and then you connect again to GlobalProtect using the user that's logged in now. If you have this option set to maybe 5, and only after 5 seconds the pre-logon tunnel gets disconnected. The next one, an important one, is the GlobalProtect connection MTU. The default is 1400. I have had many problems with this default value. I usually set it down to 1350 and sometimes even to 1300 in order to avoid problems. The next one is one that I skipped. Is this one, display IPsec to SSL fallback notification? Yes, it means that the GlobalProtect shows a little window showing that I can show you this one. I'm gonna leave to yes, and then I'm gonna block the IPsec ports on my firewall so that I have to connect using SSL. So if I click on connect, it does take a little bit longer because the GlobalProtect has to wait until IPsec times out. And when it connects, it shows this little window. Usually the user doesn't really see any performance. I usually am not a big fan of this kind of window because I think it causes more confusion than clarification. Because if the user doesn't see this, in my experience, the user doesn't really see any performance difference. But I usually disable this window because 99% of the time that this doesn't work is because the user is connecting maybe from another company, and this company has a policy that doesn't allow IPsec. It's something usually that I myself cannot change. It's 99% of the cases I have no influence to change this kind of behavior. So I usually prefer not to show this window. And in order for this window not to be shown, we have to come here and set this option to no. So now at the client, let's just disconnect and then connect again. So connected, you can see now there was no window shown. And if I come here and go to settings, I can see under protocol that I'm connected using SSL instead of IPsec. And the last option I want to show you is this one here, enable advanced internal host detection. You have the option to set to no or to yes. The default is no, but if you set to yes, this is a little bit more advanced configuration. You can come here to the internal. You have the internal host detection for IPv4 and IPv6. So the default option is the no, so it means that the GlobalProtect client is gonna try to make a reverse DNS lookup. So here when you configure internal host detection, you have to enter an IP address and you have to enter a host name, dc.netsums.com, just showing you. And the host, when the host connects to GlobalProtect, to the portal, before connecting to the gateway, it tries to make a reverse lookup of this IP address. And if it gets this name, the host is gonna assume, okay, I'm in my internal network and I'm gonna be connecting to my internal gateway if I have one set here. But I'm not gonna be connecting to an external gateway. With this option, set to yes, the host, the GlobalProtect client, does one more step. After verifying that this reverse lookup gives me this name back, the GlobalProtect app or the client has to verify the certificates from internal gateways. So this option here is actually an additional layer of security. So not only that you verify with the DNS that you're inside of your corporate network, but also the internal gateway, the certificates that the internal gateway show you have to be validated. Otherwise, GlobalProtect doesn't connect to the internal gateways if the certificates don't match. So it connects to the external gateway. I would suggest you always, if you're configuring an internal gateway, that you enable this option here. As always, I hope you found this rather long video valuable. But before you go, I just want to let you know that I might not be releasing any videos in the next few months due to time constraints. But don't worry, I'll be back with more Palo Alto contents as soon as I can manage my schedule. But in the meantime, check out this video. It might help you further with your Palo Alto configuration. Thank you for your loyalty and your time. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye bye.